Hi everyone, welcome to the Honish Report. My name is Lee Honish. Today, the complete audio of Elizabeth Warren laying the smacketh down on CEO John Stumpf of Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo CEO John Stumpf told the Senate Banking Committee that he was deeply sorry over allegations that the bank opened millions of accounts without customers' permissions to meet aggressive sales quotas that he himself put in place. Senator Warren was basically having none of it. The Massachusetts senator has had a reputation for being tough on shady Wall Street dealings and executives that she believes are responsible. But she took it to the next level with Stumpf for the first time and did it in a very public forum. Her quote, "Okay, so you haven't resigned, you haven't returned a single nickel of the personal earnings, you haven't fired a single senior executive." Warren went on to say, instead, evidently, your definition of accountability is to push the blame on the lower level employees who don't have the money for fancy PR firms to defend themselves. It's gutless leadership. Stumpf, who earned about $20 million last year, said he was deeply sorry that he failed to fulfill the responsibilities to their customers, to their team members, and to the American public. But he rejected calls to return any executive compensation. He said he wanted to be very clear that there was no orchestrated effort or scheme to have some, as some have called it, by the company. So you get the complete transcripts after this brief commercial for the Monster Marketing System. And my question, as always, why aren't you doing the Monster? We're the only people who guarantee face-to-face. Right now, we focus on pre-foreclosure or pre-REO listings. All you have to do is type in thelistingmonster.com, watch the video, see how it works. If you'd like, you can come see me live. We still have a handful of live dates for the rest of the year. All you got to do is type in bubblelisting.com. September 30th, I will be in Las Vegas, and I believe that's all that are on the schedule for right now. There will be some more. I was kind of thinking to myself as I said that. Yeah, I got to update that page for you. So all you got to do is type in bubblelisting.com. It'll redirect you back to my website, honish.com, to a landing page for a button. Forgive me. I'm trying to get over a cold. It's hard to record and have a cold at the same time. So, again, without further delay, let's start off with, you get the commercial break for the Monster that you've heard repeatedly now. So again, go Monster, just type in thelistingmonster.com. And on the other side of that, the audio of Elizabeth Warren beating up Joe Stumpf. Enjoy. Thank you for listening.
Are you a real estate agent, realtor, investor, or are you in the real estate business and you need new listings and deals? We have a solution for you, and that solution has guaranteed results. How much would you pay to get face-to-face with a homeowner that wants to sell their home? What if you also got their email address and daytime phone number? And what if this homeowner also scheduled you to come to their door at a set time to meet with you? Sound too good to be true? It isn't. And it is 100% guaranteed for you to meet face-to-face with a real homeowner who really needs to sell their home. Not only will you get this remarkable contact system and its 100% guarantee, at no additional charge, you will get weekly coaching, documents, and training on how to get that homeowner and convert them into a new listing. When you purchase, you'll also get a one-on-one walkthrough so that you can start using the system today. Visit www.thelistingmonster.com. That's www.thelistingmonster.com. Or call Diana Ortiz at 213-706-0040. Stop wasting time the old way. Use a Monster and get actual results today.
Welcome to the Honish Report, hosted by Lee Honish. The Honish Report is a look at the real estate market and creating effective marketing plans for realtors or investors to get new listings and deals. Your host, Lee Honish, has over 20 years of experience in real estate, banking, and marketing. Over the last 6 years, Lee has developed cutting-edge marketing and was named one of the most innovative marketers in America. With over 1 million views, Lee continues to be an advocate for the entire real estate community. Enjoy today's show.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Stumpf, the Wells Fargo Vision and Values Statement, which you frequently cite says, quote, "We believe in values lived, not phrases memorized. If you want to find out how strong a company's ethics are, don't listen to what its people say, watch what they do." So let's do that. Since this massive years-long scam came to light, you have said repeatedly, quote, "I am accountable." But what have you actually done to hold yourself accountable? Have you resigned as CEO or chairman of Wells Fargo?
The board, I serve at
Have you resigned?
No, I've not.
All right. Have you returned one nickel of the millions of dollars that you were paid while this scam was going on?
Well, first of all, this was by 1% of our people.
That's not my question. My question, this is about responsibility. Have you returned one nickel of the millions of dollars that you were paid while this scam was going on?
The board will take care of that.
Have you returned one nickel of the money you earned while this scam was going on?
And the board will do...
I will take that as a no then. Have you fired a single senior executive? And by that, I don't mean a regional manager or a branch manager. I'm asking about the people who actually led your community banking division or your compliance division.
We've made a change in our regional to lead our regional bank.
I just said, I'm not asking about regional managers. I'm not asking about branch managers. I'm asking if you have fired senior management, the people who actually led community banking division, who oversaw this fraud, or the compliance division that was in charge of making sure that the bank complied with the law.
Carrie Toll said...
Did you fire
No.
any of those people? No. Okay. So you haven't resigned. You haven't returned a single nickel of your personal earnings. You haven't fired a single senior executive. Instead, evidently, your definition of accountable is to push the blame to your low-level employees who don't have the money for a fancy PR firm to defend themselves. It's gutless leadership. In your time as chairman and CEO, Wells has been famous for cross-selling, which is pushing existing customers to open more accounts. Cross-selling is one of the main reasons that Wells has become the most valuable bank in the world. Wells measures cross-selling by the number of different accounts a customer has with Wells. Other big banks average fewer than 3 accounts per customer, but you set the target at 8 accounts. Every customer of Wells should have 8 accounts with the bank. And that's not because you ran the numbers and found that the average customer needed 8 banking accounts. It is because, quote, 8 rhymes with great. This was your rationale right there in your 2010 annual report. Cross-selling isn't about helping customers get what they need. If it was, you wouldn't have to squeeze your employees so hard to make it happen. No, cross-selling is all about pumping up Wells' stock price, isn't it?
No, cross-selling is shorthand for deepening relationships. We only do well...
Let me stop you right there. You say no? No? Here are the transcripts of 12 quarterly earnings calls that you participated in from 2012 to 2014, the 3 full years in which we know this scam was going on. I'd like to submit them for the record, if I may, Mr. Chair. Thank you. These are calls where you personally made your pitch to investors and analysts about why Wells Fargo is a great investment. And in all 12 of these calls, you personally cited Wells Fargo's success at cross-selling retail accounts as one of the main reasons to buy more stock in the company. Let me read you a few quotes that you had. April 2012, quote, "We grew our retail banking cross-sell ratio to a record 5.98 products per household." A year later, April 2013, quote, "We achieved record retail banking cross-sell of 6.1 products per household." April 2014, quote, "We achieved record retail banking cross-sell of 6.17 products per household." The ratio kept going up and up, and it didn't matter whether customers used those accounts or not. And guess what? Wall Street loved it. Here is just a sample of the reports from top analysts in those years, all recommending that people buy Wells Fargo stock in part because of the strong cross-sell numbers. And I'd like to submit them for the record.
Without objections.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So when investors saw good cross-sell numbers, they did while this scam was going on. That was very good for you personally, wasn't it, Mr. Stumpf? Do you know how much money, how much value your stock holdings in Wells Fargo gained while this scam was underway?
Well, first of all, it was not a scam. And cross-sell is a way of deepening relationships. When customers
We've been through this, Mr. Stumpf. I asked you a very simple question. Do you know how much the value of your stock went up while this scam was going on?
It's all of my compensation is in our public
Do
filing.
you know how much it was?
It's all in the public filing.
Oh, you're right. It is all in the public records because I looked it up. While this scam was going on, you personally held an average of 6.75 million shares of Wells stock. The share price during this time period went up by about $30, which comes out to more than $200 million in gains, all for you personally, and thanks in part to those cross-sell numbers that you talked about on every one of those calls. You know, here's what really gets me about this, Mr. Stumpf. If one of your tellers took a handful of $20 bills out of the cash drawer, they'd probably be looking at criminal charges for theft. They could end up in prison. But you squeezed your employees to the breaking point so they would cheat customers and you could drive up the value of your stock and put hundreds of millions of dollars in your own pocket. And when it all blew up, you kept your job, you kept your multi-million-dollar bonuses, and you went on television to blame thousands of $12 an hour employees who were just trying to meet cross-sell quotas that made you rich. This is about accountability. You should resign. You should give back the money that you took while this scam was going on, and you should be criminally investigated by both the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission. You know, this just isn't right. A cashier who steals a handful of 20s is held accountable, but Wall Street executives who almost never hold themselves accountable, not now and not in 2008 when they crushed the worldwide economy. The only way that Wall Street will change is if executives face jail time when they preside over massive frauds. We need tough new laws to hold corporate executives personally accountable, and we need tough prosecutors who have the courage to go after people at the top. Until then, it will be business as usual. And at giant banks like Wells Fargo, that seems to mean cheating as many customers, investors, and employees as they possibly can. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Stumpf, as you know, some of my colleagues and I sent you a letter last week about the board's plans to claw back compensation from senior executives who were responsible for overseeing this scam. Wells Fargo provided us with a response yesterday. I noticed that although we sent the letter to you, that the response actually came from somebody else in the company, which I guess is another example of holding yourself accountable. I want to focus now on the mysterious circumstances surrounding Carrie Tolsted's retirement in July. As you know, Ms. Tolsted ran the community banking division, the division where this scam occurred, for the entire time that the scam took place. She was in charge of all of the 5,300 employees who were fired, and she oversaw the creation of 2 million fake accounts. Now, in July of this year, just 2 months before the settlement was announced, and before those facts became public, Ms. Tolsted retired at age 56. You indicated in the letter, responding to our letter, that she walks away with over $90 million in stock options, and awards. Fortune magazine says it's actually about $125 million. But, and here's the key part, according to Fortune, if Ms. Tolsted had been fired instead of retiring, she would have had to forfeit as much as $45 million of that award. Mr. Stumpf, the response to our letter confirms that